xaflad dhaqaale loogu aruurinayay cisbitaalka magaalada Gaalkacyo ee gobolka Mudug ayaa lagu qabtay mid ka mid ah hoolasha magaalada Minneapolis. xafladaasi oo si aad u heer sareysa looga soo qayb galay loona soo agaasimay ayaa waxa ka mid ahaa shakhsiyaadkii xafladaasi ka soo qayb galay shakhsiga ku guuleystay mayorka ambaduqa magaalada Minneapolis Jacob Fry. isla sidoo kaleeto shakhsiga ku guuleystay doorashada ama ward 6 ee ay Soomaalidu sida aadka ah u degan tahay Cabdi Warsame iyo mas'uuliyiin kale oo ka tirsan maamulka gobolka Minnesota iyo magaalada Minneapolis. xafladaasi oo ay soo qaban qaabiyeen hay'adda Umma Project ayaa markaasi waxaa qalab iyo agab caafimaad loogu raadinayay looguna taageeray cisbitaalka magaalada Gaalkacyo. mas'uuliyiintii halkaasi ka hadashay waxa erayadoodii ka mid ahaa.
Well, thank you for coming, everyone. I want to thank Simon and Shaida, Umma Project, and so many organizations who was here tonight, and to make it happen. This beautiful event was a nice venue. Welcome and thanks for coming. This is one of the best things that you can be a partner with, is to raise for the needy, and every one of us who being in that situation know that it is the best thing to do it for humanitarian, no matter what. And I want to congratulate both for the group that who been to Gaalkacyo Hospital and Phil who started that donation tonight. All of you, give it a hand, everyone. waad ku mahadsantihiin inaad caawa xafladan aad timaadaan oo maaragtay ka qayb gashaan Umma Project iyo Ventura Partnership ay ku yihiin aad ka soo qayb gashaan aad ugu mahadsantihiin. waa waxa ugu fiican oo laga qayb galo oo maaragtay waa inaad waa beer oo ku baxaysa haddaad dhimatid iyo haddaad nooshay labadaba inaad wax ka qayb qaadantid donation aad ka samaysatid. marka waxaan aad ugu mahadinayaa Siciida Shaay iyo groupka Ventura Village iyo dadka caawa lacagta kaga qayb galay uu Phil ka mid yahay. aad u mahadsantihiin. waxa kaloon idin sheegayaa dad islaam maadaama nahay waxaan ku bilaabanaynaa aayadaha quraanka ah inuu inoo bilaabo Sheekh Sancaawi oo imaamka ka masaajidkan aan inaga fogeyn suu inoogu bilaabo. I want to welcome Sheekh Sancaawi.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. In the name of Allah, the most merciful and the most gracious, I will all welcome you here tonight. Thank you so much.
And it is an honor. It's a beautiful night, as I told you before. One of the things that really inspires me and motivates me the most is helping people. Anytime that I put my time and effort and energy when someone is in need, that is what makes me get up early in the morning. And as long as there's that motivation in me, I feel like that I'm alive. Otherwise, there's no point. Because I see if I'm not doing that, I call myself to be selfish. Because every day there's people who are not fortunate enough like me, people who are not able to even drink water. And that gives me the momentum and the motivation to know that the reason why I have water, the reason why I have something, is because I am tested. And my test is to, just drink and forget everyone else, or give back and God will take care of me. That is the dream, and the dream of many people who are able to join me. People like Simon Trotman and Ethan Miller, who travel with me all the way back to Somalia. Because the reason why we went is to help people who we watch from TV daily, people who are dying, people who, children who are suffering. That was the main point. And if we are able to take that, then it's like, I mean, I don't know how to describe. other than I think it was the best thing that happened to me, the best experience that I had with my friends. So going back, seeing people who look like you, dress like you, speak like you, eat anjela in the morning, it was amazing. And so the reason why we are here today is to actually follow up with the people that are most needed, who need our support, like Galkaya General Hospital, who the hospital was bombed by Al-Shabaab, so basically the entire hospital was shattered. And you have, that was the main hospital for an entire region. And so seeing that, people who are not able to, like if they're sick, they can die with simple things because there's no facility. Even the doctor, if they have the doctors, but there's no support, there's no material, supplies, I mean, all of that is missing.
But I am so glad to be here with you all tonight. And it was the greatest honor to go and travel to Somalia and experience the people, the generosity, experience what life is like, at least a little taste of what life is like in Somalia. And I'm so honored to be here today with everyone. I don't know what else to say other than it was such a privilege to do that. But I'm going to introduce Simon Troutman, and let me tell you, he is a great guy. We've known each other for quite a long time. We met each other at North Central, where we went to school. We're both Richfield residents, Richfieldians, I guess is what it's called. And it has been a pleasure working with him, doing this trip with him. I mean, he just texted me out of the blue to say, hey, how would you like to go to Somalia? And he was surprised when I said, that would be awesome. Which is true. I'm not telling any jokes or any lies there. I literally texted him back and said, that would be awesome. And I was like, really, is this going to happen? Like, okay. But anyways, Simon, you are a great person.
Good evening, everybody. Let's try that one more time. Good evening, everybody. It's a privilege to be here with you, and it is a privilege to come back and bring greetings from Somalia. And it's a privilege to come back specifically and bring greetings from Galkayo. How many people are from Galkayo or have family from Galkayo? Welcome, welcome. It was about 7 months ago when my good friend Saeed Oshai began to talk about the famine in Somalia. And it's the first time for me that I've had friends and family that have suffered from not having food, not having water. And it's a privilege, and I have to say this first and I have to say this often, as a city council member, I get to represent people sometimes. As a member of a faith community, I get to represent people sometimes. As a member of lots of different groups, I get to speak on behalf of people. So on behalf of the city of Richfield, on behalf of the church that I'm a part of, Cedar Valley Church, on behalf of my alma mater, North Central University, representatives are here tonight. We just want to say we're so grateful to have Somali neighbors. We're so blessed to have Somali neighbors. Our community is so much better because we have Somali neighbors. And when our neighbors struggle, there's only one response. And so it was a privilege to go to Somalia. And there's one story, one message. If there's one message I can bring, one of the great privileges of my life is to meet with the leaders and the people that are building and leading in Somalia. They're some of the bravest, some of the most competent, some of the most professional people that I've ever had the privilege of knowing. And so I bring greetings from them back to the Twin Cities here. Specifically, we had the opportunity to go to Galkayo, and in a minute we're going to have a little video here, and we're going to talk. That's just going to share a little bit about some of the great work they're doing and how we can participate in that. But I want to take a moment. We have so many distinguished guests here that I'm so grateful that you're able to come, and I just want to take a moment and acknowledge you guys. And in a few moments, we want to give you, a lot of you guys, an opportunity to come up and just say a couple words. But first, I want to thank my friend and State House Representative Linda Slocum. Let's give Linda Slocum a hand. Thank you so much. And we want to thank our newly re-elected City Council member, Abdi Warsame. Where's Abdi? Thanks for coming. And my alma mater, North Central University, we have Trent Redmond, one of our directors here tonight from North Central University. Thank you guys. And they're going to share about that, but the students at North Central were tremendous in supporting and giving to this project, and we're really grateful for all that you've done. We also want to thank, we have our newly elected mayor-elect, Jacob Fry, is going to come a little later tonight. And of particular note, I want to take a moment to thank two people, Phil and Mary Krinke, who have generously through the Krinke Foundation promised to pledge $5,000 to match every dollar, the first $5,000 that's given tonight. So let's give a hand to Phil and Mary Krinke and the Krinke Foundation. Thank you guys. And someone who I've known for a lot of years is the executive director for a humanitarian organization, Venture. Paul Herkman is also here tonight, and they've been instrumental in this process too. I just want to thank you. Thanks, Paul. So without any, and I also want to thank Sheikh Abdi, who's going to come up and is going to be our MC in a minute here. So let's give him a hand.
waxaan rabaa way noo bilaabatay waxaynu ugu nimid meesha caawa isugu nimid muhiimadeedu waxa waaye inaan fundraising u samayno Gaalkacyo General Hospital. One of the reasons why we're here tonight is the main point is to make a fundraising for Gaalkacyo Hospital. So I want to get to the point in, and I want to welcome Phil, who started for us tonight, so he can continue to start it for us. Welcome, Phil. Say a few words about it.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to point out that in our Christian religion, we say that where two or three are gathered together, that we can go out and serve our Lord and do great things. And I received a phone call from Simon. I think that was about maybe a month ago. Never met the man before. Had no idea what his background was or his religion or anything. Invited me to the Venture Gala, and so there I met Paul, and here I am tonight with you, reaching out to help people around the world. Wherever there's suffering, wherever there's a need, I think we should do whatever we can. When Simon came over and we talked about his initiative and his courage and his outreach, I mean, can you imagine if someone came up and tapped you on the shoulder, sigh, and said, I'd like you to travel with me to Somalia. Again, this is just the courage and the ability to reach out. So again, I would just privileged to be here, privileged to be with you, and the people who have from Somalia, the people from Galkayo. Again, I'm happy whatever we can do to help people in your community, in your country of origin. And my belief is that no matter what, no matter where, there are the resources and the capabilities for us to stop genocide, to feed the hungry everywhere and anywhere in the world if we all put our minds together to do that. Thank you for the opportunity so much. Thank you to being here.
So I want to call him tonight so he can say a few words for us here as well. He haven't told me where he's fundraising for the city. This is the city that he's from, Gaalkacyo Hospital.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Abdi Warsame, and I'm the Minneapolis City Council member who represents the 6th Ward. I see some, old friends like Tony Scallon sitting there, and new friends like Simon and Phil and everybody else who's here. Thank you very much. I don't really have a lot to say this evening. I just want to say thank you to Saida Shai and the Ummah Project. Thank you to Simon and Ethan for their travels to Galkayo. I have a simple story from this campaign. I was door knocking with Simon in Seward neighborhood, not far from here. And Simon actually just called that campaign and said, I want to volunteer, I want to do some door knocks. And we were surprised, didn't know Simon that well. Then when we were door knocking, he told me a story. He said, oh, I know Saida Shai, and all of us know who Saida Shai is, we know Saida. And then I said, okay, that's good. And he said, oh, and I've also been to Somalia. And I was, that's interesting. And then he said, I went to Galkayo. And Galkayo happens to be the town or the city where both my parents are from originally. And I've never been to Galkayo. I've been to Galkayo as a child, but I don't really have too much memory of it. And I have been away from Somalia for 30 years. I haven't been back. So I was surprised. A white gentleman who's a council member in Richfield, went to the city that both my parents were from. And I was, that's a surprise, especially when you're door knocking in the cold. And that's how I met Simon. And I'm very, I'm touched by his support of the community. And then today, I didn't know Simon went to North Central. I didn't know you went to North Central, but North Central happens to be in my ward. It's in the Elliott Park neighborhood that I represent. And I was, I'm touched by the fact that North Central alumni and faculty members are here today raising awareness and funds for a hospital in a city that is close to my heart. So I thank you for that. Thank you very much. And thank you to Phil. And I think Phil's aim today was if we raise money, he would match. So, and I think we should raise the money. And I think this should be the first meeting of supporting the Galkayo General Hospital and supporting the Ummah Project. And it's a good start. So I thank you for that. And also we brought, this meeting has brought people together. Christians and Muslim, white and black, Somali immigrants and native born. And I think this says a lot about our city and our state and our culture. And so I thank you very much for that. My last words are basically, Somalia was a beautiful country. It was one of the most beautiful countries in the world. If I could describe somebody who's never been to Somalia, Somalia has California's weather, and it has the longest coastline in Africa, and it has the most amazing and most beautiful people in the world. And Richard Burton, a British famous explorer, went to Somalia in the 1800s. He was an Orientalist, and he was there on a mission to find out the Somali state, and he traveled throughout the Somali state. And he reported back to Queen Victoria, who asked, what were those people that you met? And he said, they were a fierce race of Republicans. The Somalis were a fierce race of Republicans. And I don't mean Republicans as in the party Republican, which I have no issue with. But they were very independent-minded people. They were courageous people. And I think that's what we need that's what I think about when I think about Somalia. I don't think about the poverty. I don't think about the civil war. I don't think about famine. I think about the potential that Somalia has and what it can become and what it was. When I was a child, I grew up in Somalia up to the age of, like my sister Saida Shai, we're very similar, up to the age of 7. And I remember I left Somalia on a Somali airline plane, left what is now Aden at the airport when it was functioning. And I remember as a child, I had the window seat and I was looking down, and it was a lit city. And Mogadishu was a beautiful city. So we can be better than what we have become as a people. And I think our experience in the West, especially in Minnesota, will help us a great deal. But I think Minnesota eventually will benefit from its relationship with the Somali people here and with the connections that we have with Somalia. So I think this is what we need to look at. Not the poverty, but the potential. not the current status, but what we can be. And I thank Saida Shai and I thank everybody for their participation. And I thank you very much, because this touches me. I have relatives in Galkayo, I have relatives in Mogadishu, and Simon has been to both of them and I haven't been. So he has shown more courage than I have, and I will try in the near future to visit and go back to the old country. So thank you very much and have a great day.
I want to call Paul Hardman, Executive Director for Ventura. He's a partner at the Umma Project and Matters both. So I want to welcome.
I have chills. That was incredible. I run a nonprofit, and each year we have a fundraiser where we convene a lot of people from a lot of different places and ask them for money. And I'm going to hire you next time, because I don't know anything that you said, but you can make the Benjamins rain. You are incredible. That was, seriously, I have chills. And besides that being incredible, I can't help but look on this room and this is the best. This is the best of what the Twin Cities are about. In the amount of time I've been on this earth, I've lived in multiple cities, multiple states, and traveled to multiple countries. I always come back to Minneapolis, and I'm sitting there going, I'm reminded why I come back here, because this is the solutions right here. It's not the only solution. We have solutions we need to find in our faith communities and institutions and in our families and our education. But part of the solutions to the world's greatest problems are found right here when we convene people from all different walks of life, from different places, from different births, and we come together and we say, even though we might not look the same, even though we might not have the same backstory, even though we might not even be heading in all the same direction, we can come together under a certain purpose. And I just think the purpose tonight is to be a neighbor. Is to be a neighbor. As a citizen of the Twin Cities, what it means to be a neighbor is sometimes it's about proximity. It's like you live next door to somebody, or you are in an apartment down a few doors from somebody. But sometimes neighbor is more than that. It's about groups of people coming together in a community to understand one another and to say that I care about you. And past neighbor, then you have to decide if you're a good neighbor or a bad neighbor, right? And all the different faith books talk about being a good neighbor and even loving your neighbor, but being a good neighbor has everything to do with how we treat one another in good times and in tough times. And today we're talking about something that's difficult. And I work with an organization, and we say we like to do tough things for people in tough places. It's a unique approach. We bike across countries and we climb mountains and we run across states, and we raise money for some of the most difficult situations in the world. And a dear friend of mine, and a dear friend of now it seems like everybody in this room, Simon, came to me and he said, you know, there's a difficult situation in Somalia, which we all knew before Simon came to us. We knew it, but there's something different than just seeing something on the news and having somebody that sees firsthand and says, I'm going to respond. And Simon, I'm going to take my liberties with, when Simon went to Somalia is probably as powerful as why, because what Simon didn't tell us, and what is that Simon was in the 11th hour of his campaign. And I've never campaigned for anything, but I just know that having met with Simon, the 11th hour doesn't look very fun to me. He was in the 11th hour of his campaign, and he felt pulled, called, drawn to go to Somalia because he's a good neighbor, because his faith tells him to not just be a good neighbor, but to love your neighbor. And then he had to go to his wife. And can you imagine in the 11th hour of your campaign, when you're supposed to be taking care of your family and getting elected, going, hey, I think I'm going to jump on a plane and go to another part of the world that I've never been to and just kind of see what I can see. I don't know, in my family that wouldn't have worked out so well, so I applaud you, Jennifer, for letting him do that. That was incredible. And Simon came back, and he came and he said, hey, here's the tough situation going on, and you guys say you do tough things. And I said, that sounds about right. We can try to figure out how we can help. And so we started having these conversations, and we said our organization, Venture, will do whatever we can do. And without stealing any of your thunder, Trent, I want to say one of the most moving things in helping with this initiative was getting key members and partners of the venture community involved, and one of the dear partners is North Central University. And North Central University is right downtown Minneapolis, and so there are students there, as in all universities, that come from all around the world, and they're really a displaced neighbor, because most of them aren't from Minneapolis, but they want to practice neighbor. They want to practice, as most college students do, they want to practice being involved in their community. And they knew, maybe not before they came to Minneapolis, but very clearly after they came to Minneapolis, one of their predominant neighbors is their Somali neighbors. And so now all of a sudden it's not just a news story that they see online or on the news, but now it's a story that affects their neighbor. And they wanted to practice what it looks like to respond to the needs of their neighbor and to come alongside, not just to feel bad. Too many people waste a lot of time feeling bad for other people, and guess what? Feeling bad doesn't do anything. They wanted to practice what it was. So this group of students, led by some business majors, a group of students in the business major, said, we want to encourage our students to practice being a good neighbor to our Somali community. And not just to the community here, but to the people that they love that are impacted, their second-hand neighbors across the ocean. And so they gave up what they would normally eat for a whole week. And they gave that up, and they started raising funds, and they started giving the difference from what they would normally eat. They sacrificed it so that other people could have food and medical supplies. And by the end of the week, these students that are just practicing being neighbors, these displaced people from all over the U.S. and around the world came together, and they said, we want to show our neighbors that we want to help. And they were able to raise enough money to provide over 10,000 meals and hundreds of dollars of medical supplies. And so I want to celebrate North Central University and the courage of your leadership and the courage of your students to practice what it means to be a neighbor. I think we ought to celebrate you. Thank you, North Central. And I can't help but be moved by this idea if everyone here leaves inspired to be a better neighbor, inspired by the people in this room who we know just a little bit better, that you wouldn't leave before you get to know someone's story, get to know where they're from. I know about 75% of the people seem to be from Galkayo, a city I'd never heard of, just 2 months ago. I'm in. Let's do this. But I think if we leave this place with the courage to keep practicing being a better neighbor than when we showed up, that Minneapolis will continue to be a beacon of citizens that care about the world and make a difference. I want to say thank you to Simon and to Saido for leading the way and courageously figuring out what it means to be neighbor, and not just a good neighbor, but truly loving your neighbor. Thank you so much.
I want to welcome again Linda. For those of you who don't know, she used to live right here in Seaward. One of you new in this area. She also the House Representative of the state of Minnesota. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I am very, very honored to be here. Yes, I used to live in Seward. Now I live in Richfield. I represent the southern and western part of Richfield and the eastern and central part of Bloomington. I met Simon not terribly long ago, just a few weeks ago. I knew who he was. Trouble. I knew he was trouble. And so we had coffee, and it was a very long coffee, and we talked about everything. And we found we were really on the same wavelength. And it was very gratifying. I felt very uplifted because he's my city council member. So, and I said to him, they move too slowly there. You got to go raise a little, and get some stuff done. And because that's kind of my bottom line. I like to see things get done. And I want you to know that I represent the mosque that had some problems this fall. And my door is open. You have somebody at the House of Representatives over in St. Paul who will listen to you, will make appointments, will come out and see you wherever you are. And that would be me. I'm a retired school teacher in Minneapolis. I taught here for 25 years. And I've had kids from all different backgrounds. And I really have learned a lot, as much from the kids as they ever did from me. And it was a nice experience. I've been at the Capitol for about 12 years. When Simon told me about this, I said, oh yeah, count me in. Count me in. I think it's wonderful. And I'm very, very honored to be here.
At least see what Simon and others, the trip they have and what they been through, and they saw the real deal. They saw the, they're struggling. They saw, the need of the hospital, the equipment, women and children. They saw the real deal. That's one of the reason why they've been touched by it. And I'm glad they have that video so you guys can see it as well. I want to call right now Northside University, Aaron, if you want to come up and say a few words as well.
Well, it is a privilege to be with you this evening. I agree with Paul. One of the best things of the night has been hearing some of your stories, hearing how some of you came to America at age 13, discovered high school at that age, came here, did not speak English, and yet you have been amazingly successful. And I am just so encouraged as I hear your stories. I want more of us to get to know each other. I'm so excited about the students of North Central University that I'm representing tonight, because our students, they care about the world, they care about their Somali neighbors, and they care about you. And I'm so excited that many of them gave up many days without lunches and eating rice and beans just to symbolize how giving up a little bit so that they could make a bigger impact in Somalia. When Simon came to my office and he looked at me and he told me just how his heart was broken for the people of Somalia, boy, I was so proud of him and proud of just two of our alumni from North Central. Just, they're making a difference in people's lives all across this world. And I love being a part of a place that has a heart for the world. And I'm so proud to come here and just represent North Central tonight. Thank you, everyone, for just a wonderful meal. Whoever made the meal, that was amazing. I really enjoyed that. And thank you for this opportunity to get to know you tonight.
Million people worldwide who are committed to ending extreme poverty, finding sustainable solutions to a lot of the issues and the heartbreaking realities that we've talked about this evening. And it's just a real honor to be able to partner with projects like this that take sort of these broad ideas of international development and what's happening on the ground in other countries and brings it down to the very human reality and stories. It's all about the stories. So when we look forward to more partnership.
Representative Slocum, she just sees the need and wants to get it done. Let's not mess around with all of the slowness. Let's just get things done. And had an opportunity to get to know and share in a project called the Somali American Leaders and Mediators, and we're providing training and helping these young Somalis teach us as well about how to introduce both mediation and restorative justice processes in the communities where they go, where we're not reaching. And we had an opportunity last year to spend 5 days altogether with the most beautiful young people who were so inspiring. And when we had a graduation ceremony from them, we were hearing from people they wanted to do it. And by the end of the night, we had a waiting list of people, so we're going to have a training again this March. And Cecito tells me it's too early to talk about March, so sometime in February we'll start talking about March. But it's been an honor to work with Cecito and through Cecito to have met Simon and to see the wonderful community coming together around such an important need. No, thank you.
I just want to remind you, for those of you who come here tonight to be on this campaign, it was wonderful. Whether if you give out $100 or $5,000, it works, and not only you helping someone, you make it different for someone. You make it different for family, whether if they get the equipment to buy bad, or whether if they help out their medication, or if help out midwife, it helps that hospital. As you guys see, Dr. Mohammed, he's one of the famous doctors in Somalia, and he could work for Italy. He used to work for HUA, but he'd rather stay there. He'd rather help out for his people, and each one of us, that is example for us. For those of you who practice nurse, who practice doctor, you need to go back to your country or home country and help out at least 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. It will make a difference. Because if he did it, every one of you guys can do it. I pledge out myself, I'll go back and do what I can. And I want to thank every one of you who participate.
Hello to you all. This is Cecilia Shai from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I have my two friends, Simon and Ethan. We're here right now at Turkey, Istanbul, flying to Somalia.
We're here today because it was about a month ago that my oldest and dearest Somali friend, Saeed Oshai, reached out to me and just said, this is what's happening in my country, and began to describe the crushing famine affecting the country of Somalia and South Sudan and that entire region. Both Saeed and I, recognize that the Quran calls us to love our neighbors, and that the Bible calls us to love our neighbors, and even the most basic self-interest suggests it's a really good idea to care for those around you. And the problem and the struggle is that when we hear about suffering around the world, on the other side of the world, it seems distant, and we can look at them as something other than our neighbors.
We're just excited to see what we can contribute and what we can do to help the Somali people, as well as documenting the famine and what's going on, so people really can catch a grasp of what is actually happening on the ground in Somalia and why it is so devastating.
I'm a UK citizen, and I have got my family and children there. Some of them are the smallest is in high school, and the rest are in university. Some of them are working. I was working, and I left that because I came to know that my people needs terrorist attack last year, 21st of August. The entire hospital has been really has seen a shock. So the only way you can overcome someone who is out of mind is to respond positively. So that's a show we are making that. You destroy it, your mentality is distraction, and we win. So we did 2 missions to answer that threat. First, it was to make a temporary rehabilitation where possible, so that the healthcare service, and the second will make one to have a new hospital. And we have, you can see from here, how the new hospital will be in the future. So in short, we are at that stage. We would love that the American people, if they support to finish that really nice project, we can forward the bill of quantities, as well as the architect design. We need supplies, mainly. So we are speaking with the supplies and supplies.
We had the opportunity to go to Somalia to document the famine, and more than document the famine, we also had the opportunity to interact with and document just the incredible leaders in Somalia. In addition to documenting the need, which I have to say is profound and every bit as urgent as we feared. There are groups of people in camp, we call them IDP camps, or camps for internally displaced persons. These are people that are coming primarily from the countryside to not even dedicated camps, but they're coming together without resources, hoping that they can just get enough people together that they can get support, they can get relief, they can get the urgent aid that they need, just the most basic food and water they're suffering from, they don't have. The need is profound. The best problems are malnutrition and cholera. The worst problems are actual starvation and dying from dehydrations.
One of the things that our team is figuring out is, you know, ways that we can take that food to bring it to the needy groups, specifically groups that were in the camp who didn't have any food or anything.
We cannot underestimate how incredible, how inspiring, how courageous the leaders were that we met. Again, not just in Mogadishu, but in Galkayo, which is a regional capital, a regional hub, and all the way to Galdoogab, which is on the Ethiopian border. At every corner, at every turn, we ran into and we met and we sat down and we dialogued with tremendous leaders that made tremendous sacrifices, personal and otherwise, to build something great, to build something beautiful in Somalia.
You know, it was an honor for me to go with Simon and Ethan to Somalia, knowing that Somalia is a very dangerous place, and what we hear and see from the media, you know, a country that they have never been. They travel with me, you know, allowing me to take that responsibility to go to Somalia. And we came back with a totally different perspective. Our job actually starts right now. And so I wanted to say that regardless of what we hear from the media, we are determined and we will go back and we will help our people. Along with our non-Somali friends who actually we adopted them right now. Both Simon and Ethan are half Somali, no, full Somali. I'm just going to say that. Thank you so much.
runtii xafladdaasi ayaa waxaa ka muuqatay sida jaaliyadda Soomaaliyeed ee ku nool magaalada Minneapolis iyo gobolka Minnesota ay ugu heelan yihiin sidii loo taageeri lahaa cusbitaalka magaalada Gaalkacyo ee gobolka Mudug.